copo de prata, porque prata é a luz do luar. Do luar que tanta falta me fazia junto com o mar. Mar da Bahia, cujo verde vez em quando me fazia bem relembrar. Tão diferente do verde também tão lindo dos gramados campos de lá.
Yes, this is Mini Geology. Welcome to the show. This is Daniel Minizini talking from KPFT, Houston, Texas. Hello to everybody. Today we'll talk about the newly redesigned Energy Hall of the Houston Museum of Natural Science. Yes. So, the Energy Hall is one of the several halls of the Houston Museum of Natural Science. Is one of those. There are many others. One is dedicated to the gems and minerals. Another one is dedicated to paleontology. Another one to malacology. Well, today we talk about the newly redesigned Energy Hall. And it opened a few weeks ago. It is considered the most contemporary, comprehensive, and technologically advanced exhibition on the science and technology of energy everywhere in the world, as written in the webpage of the Houston Museum of Natural Science. So, why do we talk about this today? Well, where are we if not in the capital of energy, the world capital of energy, as it is known, the city where we are here in Houston. Plus, a museum is an organization that enjoys and educates the public, like we do here at KPFT. The topic of the Energy Hall is obviously energy, which is the single largest globally traded commodity, and its impact on world trade and geopolitics is profound. However, energy is difficult to visualize. And since we don't go to the store and buy it, we rarely get to see the time, the effort, and those spatial technologies that take place to produce the energy, to process it in a way that we can use every day. And once the energy is processed, then to transport it to the places where we live, because we live the energy where we are. So all of these stages are difficult to see, difficult to visualize. Well, although the Energy Hall is unbalanced in favor of the oil and gas industry, is unbalanced in favor of the hydrocarbons. This Energy Hall shows, exhibits, displays the life cycle of energy. So it goes from starting where the raw material is stored in our planet. So it touches the disciplines of geography, geology, and geophysics. It explains how to reach those raw materials, and in this case is drill. And then, obviously this is because it's unbalanced in favor of the hydrocarbons, which are well buried under our feet. And then it touches the transporting stage, talking about the pipelines, for instance, and transforming this raw material into products like fuel, what we use to to go places, and plastic, which is very few words surrounding us. There is some space also for other sources of energy: coal, nuclear, hydroelectric, and renewables also. But the same amount of space is occupied by exhibitions related to the unconventional revolution. By unconventional revolution, it is meant the new way to produce, once again, oil and gas, in this case through horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing. And there's a very good reason to dedicate a good part of this energy haul to the unconventional revolution, because this revolution was led by taxes. The energy haul so shows, as I said, and I would like to say also displays and exhibits this life cycle of energy. How does it do it? Well, there's a rainbow of colors, rays of magical lights that they kind of dance around you, large panels, larger touch screens, holograms, there's visual art, 3D images, 4D images, videos, pictures. Well, it is hard to know where to look first when you are in this place. It's like being in a souk, this Arab market or an Indian street where everybody is claiming your attention. Well, all of these things, you cannot see them in the radio. The radio is the medium to think about them. We won't be able to show you anything of the things that are in the energy hall of the Houston Museum of Natural Science. But we can talk about them, think about them, describe them at the very beginning, which is gonna tell you right now my experience being there yesterday and spending 3 hours inside. In the exhibition, you are overwhelmed by shapes, colors, tools in motion, projections. There's so much that you almost feel tired when approaching one of those small labels on the right side of a tool, and you decide to read just the title because you are tired, and maybe the first couple of lines. Or worse, you maybe think that the label is now useless and obsolete because there are so many new things around you. It could happen. It happened to me as well. Yes. Well, let's see. What did it happen yesterday? Yesterday afternoon was a Thursday. And as you probably know, in this city, we have free entrance to the museums once a week. Many museums, they decide to allow citizens to enter the museums on Thursdays. So yesterday afternoon was one of those Thursdays. And one of those days, from 3 to 6 p.m., there's a free entrance to see many of these amazing halls that are in the Houston Museum of Natural Science. So I park maybe 3-4 blocks from the museum because accepted. On one side is free, on the other side you have to pay the parking lot if you want to visit the museum, and there are so many people that if you want to park in a free spot, you have to figure it out and maybe walk some blocks, which is not usual for Houstonians in here. Plus, it was a cold day yesterday. One of the coldest in the city this year. Okay, so you enter the museum, you see a lot of people, you have to figure out where to go to get a ticket, because even if it is free, you need to get a ticket. Then you get it, and you enter first floor. But there are fourth floor, and you have to reach the fourth floor to see the energy hall. At that point, you look for elevators, especially if you are Houstonians. You don't even think you go upstairs. Anyhow, if you want to go upstairs, because in the elevators there's a long line, then you start climbing the stairs, and then you reach only the second floor. But then there are no more stairs, so you have to figure out where to arrive to the fourth floors through another block of staircase. So if you enter finally in the fourth floor through the staircase, well, the very first thing you see are is like 4 or 5 panels with 44 major oil companies and independent and several foundations that are thanked. And it is not really clear who funded this newly redesigned hall, but there are a lot of names of corporations and firms and foundations that they certainly help this to occur. In the web then, later on, I found that the six main corporations, they donated in between $1.5 and $10 million each. So if you do a rapid calculation, you find out that there has been an investment of roughly $40 million. This is an important point. We are visiting part of a museum that was open a few weeks ago, and the investment behind this effort is very important. We're talking about $40 million, plus or minus the error in this rapid calculation. Well, and that is if you enter through the stairs. If you enter through the elevators, because you find them, you like to be comfy, and you have to stay in line a few minutes, then the very first thing you see is an exhibition titled Far Out in Gulf of Mexico, supported by ExxonMobil, equipment provided by NOV and Halliburton, and research by Cobalt and Chevron. And this is about drilling. So this is the very first image that you get when you enter in the hall as content, is about drilling. In this case is the top-notch technology in a rig 100 miles offshore the coast, mainly automatic robots that they perform activities long time ago, or not that long time ago, performed by man. And this is a recurrent topic, the drilling. So it's not that the museum shows a lot about hydrocarbons, oil and gas, but also a lot of drilling information about drilling. So just in case you arrive through the elevators and you didn't have the chance to see those panels where you have the main supporters or donors, then you have 11 slides that they project on a slightly bended wall, maybe, let's say, 10 feet by 15 feet. This is the size of the images projected in this wall. The slides show in big, bold characters the names of the supporters. And the main one is Anadarko, very big. Then there are other 3 extra slides that they are titled In-Kind Support Provided By. And here there's also the Bureau of Economic Geology in Austin. I remember that. Okay, so this is kind of the pronoun of a Greek temple. So just those few meters in between the columns and the wall and the main wall. So now let's entrance. We go inside. What does it happen when you enter this hall? Well, it is really a hall. You enter is like the hall of a hotel. There's a 15 by 15 meters, so around 50 by 50 feet, irregular hall which is empty. This is like half of a basketball court. The environment is dark. There's a soft velvet blue that is reflected by the floor, that is made of some material that kind of reflects the lights. You don't really know where the lights are coming from, but the lights, they are changing intensity, and sometimes they change also the direction, so that I had to move constantly to take notes. Sometimes I don't see, sometimes I have the shadow of my own fingers on the paper, which now it doesn't look to be white. Sometimes it is reddish, sometimes it is purple, sometimes it is blue. So what do I do now? Now this is one of those moments where you have so many things around you that it's hard to know where to look first. So I'm there for you. I decide to go to the museum to come and tell you about it. That's why I had a notebook and I had a pencil. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna describe from right to left everything. And so there are like maybe 6 or 7 or 8, we'll see later on now how many exhibitions that are at the perimeter of this half basketball court that is the hall. First to the right, there's a generator, maybe 5 meters long, 15 feet long, and this is for, quote-unquote, electrical power generation. It is reddish, it is tubular, is masculine, is hot. In the hall there are these cold colors, soft, but then there's a strong reddish and hot red illumination on this generator, which is painted red and yellow. And then we are going to move now to the left, and we see kind of a 3-dimensional gazebo with a semi-transparent fabric hiding something. This is a fabric that is kind of semi-transparent, and you kind of see something inside. You don't really know what it's about, but there's a title that is projected with some lights, and it says renewable energy. And this is intriguing shape. It's like a Mobius strip. It is light and elegant as a butterfly. Then we have the panels and interactive videos about you don't really know what it's about, but the words that you see, the largest words that you may see are offshore giants. So, it's about drilling. And so you see here casings, motors, drill bits. You see tools in here that you use for drilling or related to the drilling operations. That was the third unit. Now let's go to the fourth unit, moving again to the left. Now in here you see a rounded space. It's obviously smaller than the hole, is maybe 15 feet in diameter, and there are 4 touch screens, and they are about, in order, basic drilling, extreme drilling, directional drilling, drilling data flow. So again, drilling, and this is at the chest height. Now above, on the ceiling, above your head, there is a gigantic drill. Is 5 meters, 15 feet in diameter, and is spinning above your head. That was impressive. And actually, this is something that catches your eye when you are standing at the very entrance of the hole, especially because it's well illuminated with clear white light in this environment that is smoothly dark. Then there's something weird on the left. The title is GeoVater. Geo, I like Geo. Vator. So it takes me a little bit to understand that is related to elevator. So probably I think an elevator to go through geology, but obviously you don't go upward, you go downward. So again, is a synonymous of drilling. This is an octagonal closed structure. Is surrounded by yellow metallic pipes, maybe half a foot in diameter, sometimes thinner. And the main door of this structure seems to hide something curious, because there's a line of around 20 people that are waiting to enter through that door. I say, well, let me go and stay in line of this GeoVater while I see the very last thing that is on the extreme left of the hole. So finally, I look at this last, let's call it booth or exhibition, and I look at this area. This, I finally understand, is the area where a pre-recorder narrator explains things, and I finally understand where that voice is coming from. It's coming from this pre-recorded video that talks about the formation, and that is the title of this area. Formation. Formation of what? Formation of everything, from the Big Bang to the rocks to kerosene, everything in 4 minutes. And I remember they talk about the 15 billions of the age of the universe, so 15 billions synthesized in 4 minutes. And everything is narrated while projected images with very special effects in a 20 feet or around 7 meters curved patchwork of flat screens. And it is very convenient to listen and to look at this video while I'm waiting in line for the GeoVater tour. So I wait maybe, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, so I have the chance to listen more than twice to the formation, and there are only 4 seconds of silence before this masculine voice restarts from scratch the narration of the formation of our planet. Now, then, what has happened? Well, I finally enter the GeoVater. I have to say that also people with wheelchairs are welcome. It's very easy, smooth. There's a lady that tells us something about safety. They advise us to hold on handrails. And then I understand, yes, it is what I expected. It is a voyage downhole. So, as I said, kind of drilling is following the drill bit. And we go down. It is funny because you pass through the 3rd, 2nd, 1st floor of the museum before going down into the rock formations. And this is the structure is shaking according to the kind of hardness of the rock that is penetrating. And in the meanwhile, another masculine voice talks about rivers that they deposit the sediments. It talks about porosity, grains, drilling with mud. There are a plethora of screens that they have several measurements, temperature where you are going downward is increasing, as well as pressure in PSI, and obviously depth, so it's telling you how many feet below the ground you are. So all of these are increasing while everything is shaking, and this voice is telling you technical information related to the geology of the rocks. And it continues down and down and down until at 8,000 feet. What happened is that we strike oil. And this is right below the salt dome. And the name of the salt dome is the Pierce Junction, which seems to be pretty close to the city of Houston, where it was produced in the 20s, I think. That was the age when Houstonians were producing oil from this trap. And so at some point all the screens, they stop. 200 Fahrenheit is the temperature, 2000 psi is the pressure, around 2,000 feet is the depth. And so again some more technical information. Then there is a jump in time, and we go into the Cretaceous. So, and here is nice because you travel in depth and then you travel in time. Does it ring a bell? It is not really time to death conversion. In this case, is the conversion from death to time, and probably that formation below the dome was Cretaceous. So more information in here. I was looking at the screens, got a little bit lost at this point. I don't think that people really understood much. This is a trip that takes like 8 minutes, and in people, we were around, I say, 20, 30 people. They get out with the face of, okay, down with this. And so I get out, and I go back to the hole. And keep in mind that the entire energy hole is as big as half or more than half a football field. And I'm in the hole, and I start looking at the visitors, because what is important about a museum is not just what is shown, or what are the pieces in the museum, but also the visitors. And so I start looking at the visitors, and I see that there are families. It's full of families, couples. They go hand in hand, and then there are a few lone wolves like me. Probably they are part of a family, and they have been, detached from those families for a little while, and probably somebody that is working in the disciplines involved in the exhibition, because they are the ones that they spend more time around the tools and the labels. Some are in t-shirt, some are wearing heavy jackets since it's cold outside, but very warm inside. And then there are strollers that they are parked beside the installations. So a lot of kids, younger kids, 3, 5, 7 years old, running around, going like crazy, like having a fix of sugar with all of these beautiful colors and tools and new things that you don't see anywhere else. So there are kind of the crazy elements in a positive sense, I say, that they are moving around in unexpected moves. And then people, they are checking their smartphones. They look at the smartphone while they're in line, or if they are probably trying to find out the other pieces of the family that disintegrated while moving from the first floor to the fourth floor. And the kids that I was talking about, they're often hanging from these handrails. It's full of handrails in the hall. The adults, they are leaning on the parapets and the pipe railings. In fact, I think that is because there are only 2 or 3 benches where to sit and relax or to take notes. So I'm also one of those that is like leaning on the parapet, or also maybe sitting on the floor, I have to admit, to take some notes. What I like is the kids, that they are pushing all available buttons, and there are a bunch, or pushing all the options on the touch screens. I have to say that I saw an adult swiping his full hand on the entire width of a touching screen while walking. He was walking, and while walking, he swiped the hand and is turning his head to the back and stretching his neck to see all of those sensational images that popped up while he's leaving, and probably again the family is kind of a magnet and brings him away. I don't know, it should have been that kind of feeling when you see a lot of gummy bears and you can't decide, and you put all of them in your mouth, and you have that kind of explosion of carnival in your mouth. Well, I feel a little bit lost. So, what do I do? Probably more than 1 hour is gone. And I have only 3, okay? Because you enter at 3, well, actually after the parking zone I entered 3:30, but at 6, they close. So I decided to quickly explore this 30,000 square feet. As I said, is half of a football field. So I walk fast. I read the big banners on the exhibition booth, and I get an idea. So it takes me a little bit before understanding that there was a narrative in this energy hall. Yes, there is a narrative, and the secret is to turn left at the very beginning, and not right like I did, like I described everything from the right. You remember starting from the generator, ending up with the video of the formation? Well, the secret was to do it the other way around, so to turn to the left. And that is weird, as many studies, they say that most people turn right when enter a room, or when they are free to choose. Okay, anyhow, the important thing is that finally I find the narrative. So this is what happened. You enter the hall after the very few information about the donors, and you turn left. And this is quickly the narrative that I'm gonna tell for you from my point of view, just with the labels of the exhibitions. So you have the formation of everything, including the rocks. And then you have an area with three disciplines: the geology of hydrocarbons, the geography of hydrocarbons, and the geophysics of hydrocarbons. So you already know that you are projected into this source of energy, the hydrocarbons, oil and gas. So you study the hydrocarbon, and then you go and reach it through drilling. So it's drilling and development with tools and concepts about drilling. Then there's the production. Once you find the raw material, then you have the reservoir, and you have to produce that oil and gas. And so you have the cycle in here from studies to exploration to production. Then you have the unconventional revolution. So there's a part of the whole dedicated to this new way to produce the same oil and gas, but now through horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing. And that is specially dedicated to Texas. Finally, there's transportation and distribution of the oil and gas. When this product arrives places, then there is the process and the products created through the hydrocarbon. At this point, the very last thing are the other options to create energy. And you have a booth that is titled Electrical Power. And in here you have 4 screens where they explain how to create electrical power through coal, natural gas, nuclear, and hydroelectric. Finally, you enter in this Moebius shape or butterfly shape, this three-dimensional gazebo, which is the renewable. And in the renewables, you have wind, solar, ocean, which I understand it is meant tides, currents, the difference of temperatures and the heat capacity. But you also have fusion and biomass in geothermal. So this is the narrative of this energy hall of the Houston Natural Science Museum. I'm going to tell you something about these different exhibitions. For instance, formation. I like it because it says the beginning remains a mystery. Even though they mention, I have to say, they mention that the Earth is the universe. Everything started 15 billion years ago. The beginning remains the mystery, and then after a few seconds we start talking about life and the fact that life needs energy. And this is nice because then few seconds later it is like the dead organisms that they become energy. And so I like this kind of contrast between life that needs energy through the sun and then dead organisms that they become energy because they represent the hydrocarbons. And then the link with man is that storing and transporting energy are very important because they enhance the civilization. And obviously there's a very emphatic sentence that is setting the stage when they say that oil and gas is the most important source of energy today. And everything changed when storing and transporting oil and gas, this was a boost for civilization. But also, it is mentioned at the very end that since electricity is our current currency, then renewables appear on the scene, and that is let's say the inspirational part, the seed for the inspirational part, because the very last sentence is related to explorers. So looking for energy makes us explorers, and explorers are driven by curiosity. And I like the link between the beginning, when it says the video says that the beginning remains a mystery, and the end when it says that explorers are driven by curiosity. So mystery and curiosity, the beginning of the end of the video, are key inspirational words to stick with during this travel in this energy hole. Well, geologists, I'm going to mention something about the installation about geology. There's not much because obviously there are many other disciplines and topics. There are only 5 rocks, and there are only 1 foot of rock, so 30 centimeters. They are close by. They are obviously a section of a core, and they are a shale. Shale is the name that they decide to place on top of this mudstone, which is an Eagle Formation sample. So shale, dolomite, anhydrite, sandstone, and limestone. There are also thin sections that are shown through a microscope that you can move through some touchscreen options. There are a couple of videos, one on plate tectonics. The plates, they move forward or backward in time, 250 million years, but there's no source is mentioned on how these plate tectonics are reconstructed. And together with these videos, there are 4 globes. They're probably 3 feet in diameter, the spheres. One represents the Earth 600 million years ago, another one 300 million years ago, another one it represents the planet how it is today, and then another one, I find this funny, is how the continents would appear in the planet 250 million from now. So they appear like one big continent with a deep ocean in the middle, but there are not clear point of references, so I wouldn't know where this deep ocean is, and there's no clear basis on which the projection was performed, or this kind of idea was conceived. There's another video on how the sediment bases infill, another one on what happened at each geological age. So it's just one sentence, but let's say you go to a scroll on the Upper Jurassic, I decide Tithonian, which is 152 million years ago. It simply says Archaeopteryx. Obviously, it's talking about an extinct organism. Archaeopteryx soars through the skies! Exclamation point. Archaeopteryx is a transitional species between feathered dinosaurs and birds. So it's as simple as that, but you find one sentence per geologic age. And then you have another couple of videos, one on traps and migration, and another one about information on hydrocarbons per country. So you click Nigeria, or Malaysia, or India, or Italy, or Canada, or United States, and you see the statistics related with hydrocarbon, and so and relationships with other countries. The geophysics of hydrocarbon, I had some problems there. I was looking at this. I like it that you had these words, just the words written like geophysics. I imagine like going there with my parents or my friends, and they learn about revolution of geophysics, and I think it's cool. I mean, this is the education, right? I mean, but I had a problem there. Oops! I click on a 4D seismic. I was interested in understanding this exhibition, and well, I don't know what I did. Well, actually, no, I was scrolling the bar to move forward the video, and yeah, it crashed on me, and so the video crashed, and we had the Windows logo popping up. In the geophysics of hydrocarbons, people, they like to pump a plunge, to fire a model of an air gun. People, they take pictures and selfies. This is funny that it's difficult to take a selfie while you are like pumping pumping a plunge. Anyhow, I saw them. And then there's another nice tubular installation where you go inside, so it's probably 8 feet in diameter, and this tubular room open on both sides. This is kind of a screen, two screens curved. They represent the two halves of the cylinder, and that is where you see the Petrel performance. It's actually, it is written that Petrel provided the information in the videos. It was like being in the office there, and now you know that people, they are gonna understand what you do in the office if you work with those kind of platforms to deal with the many data and the integration of the several disciplines that it requires to be a geologist working in an energy company. I would like to jump to the energy city, because the energy city is that booth that is probably the funniest, the nicest, and let me see. I put some notes in here. The energy city is like 30 minutes of custom animated content, and it is described as the most intricate projection mapping project ever created. So it's a huge space, 2,500 square feet, and there are very nice special effects with lights projected on three-dimensional structures, and the structures, they represent the city of Houston. But everything comes together. Is the city of Houston together with the Gulf Coast. So Houston is by the seashore, but you also have hills behind the city, the skyline. So probably together is Houston, the Gulf Coast, and the hill country together. everybody is taking pictures or videos in here. There are up to 40 people concentrating in this attraction. Is probably the main one. And there are nice musics related to the projections. But what happened is that this city, where you put together different geographical areas, you also put together all the facilities that they produce energy, so it exhibits, it hosts the city, all the facilities producing energy within its acreage. So you clearly see several tens of skyscrapers that you could recognize if you are from here. But then the other 9/10 of this project shows liquefied wet gas facilities, a gas to liquid facility, oil refineries, a gas processing plant. There's a solar thermal power plant, coal power plant, a jack-up rig, a coal mine, a nuclear reactor close to the wind farms. The wind farms that are both onshore and offshore. They never stop. They continue to spin. And also a geothermal plant. So there's everything together. The title is Energy City, of course, but we have to take it with a grain of salt. It will never exist, a city with all of these facilities. And there's also where you don't have these facilities, you have some houses and a very important highway that is cross-cutting the entire city, very wide, with traffic, always moving, always, day and night. Because the lights, they show when it's day, when it's night. And I look carefully. There are only cars. There are no bicycles, no pedestrians. But you may see there are no bicycles, no pedestrians, but you may see police cars that they are chasing somebody. There's also an helicopter that is helping the police cars chasing somebody who knows who, I don't know. And there are also quads or dune buggies that they are jumping up and down the hills in the background. So, and then what happening here is that while the illumination hits specific infrastructures, let's say the wind farms, there is also an easy explanation that is projected on the sky, which is flat. So it's good for projections of words. And there's an explanation of the source of the energy that comes out from that infrastructure. For instance, in the case of the wind farms, is written cold air goes down and hot air goes up. As simple as that, but with nice special effects. What I couldn't find, I hope it is there somewhere. I really didn't have time. 3 hours is nothing. 3 hours is enough just to see the narrative. There's no mention of potential or actual problems related to each source of energy. So there's no talk or reference to hydraulic fracturing or nuclear waste or the land needed for the solar power plants. And also there is no context of where each energy can be produced. So, for instance, geothermal can be produced everywhere, right? And nor the percentage of each sourse of energy that is used today. I really think that some of these tens of touch screens are hiding this number somewhere, but I couldn't find them. Nevertheless, this energy city is the best spot where to rest, because there are 2 benches there, and be inspired. So I think that if the energy hall were a standalone museum, well, it would be a museum and that gives really a service to society. It is something important for us, geoscientists, geologists, the people working in the energy companies, because what is the service to society is interpreting the objects in the ideas. It may be Texas-centric, it may be oil and gas-centric, but it's very clear. This energy hall is very clear. I mean, in the interpretation that it gives to the public. I'm not talking about the information, which is also clear, but I mean the interpretation of these objects, these tools, in the ideas. And what is interpretation? Well, I would say that is, in a way, is cynic, but very practical. So we say these are the sources that we have. Most of the world runs on oil and gas, and we're going to show you how it works, the entire life cycle, how to study, find, and produce this oil and gas. So very practical. Is not a place for idealists. So it reflects the Houstonians, very practical, pragmatic people that they have to deliver. And I think that is a service to society, interpreting objects and ideas to enjoy and educate the public. You really enjoy there. You can bring your family, your friends, even if they don't care about geology. You can bring them there. It's going to be fun, including the tens of thousands of workers related to energy that they live in the city. It is nice that it is open to the public for free on Thursday, and it is important to know that the investment is huge in here, that all the corporations and foundations in the city, they help. There's some sort of research, but I'm not sure if the Energy Hall is doing actually research. But it seemed to me to be in the office. It's like I can bring my family and friends now to the office going to this museum. It was inspirational to me because I see new tools related to geology. Like, I didn't know that if you're a geologist or somebody studying energy, you can become a visual artist. And yes, all the things related to communication, education, inspiration, they need the geoscientist to convey the message, to simplify it, and to reach to the people, to communicate better, to let them understand the importance of the things that we do. I think that we could be more open to criticism, and I hope that the people of Houston, with as many professionals, can provide help and feedback to the Energy Hall of this museum. So with this, we are done for today.